Watch this video to discover 7 money habits that keeping you poor. And most importantly, if you stay till the end of this video, you will discover how to reshape your habits free from money traps and unleash your true financial potential. I'm Ella Rivkin, financial freedom coach and strategic tax planner. For over 20 years, working hard, trying to make something of myself to become successful, working endless hours. One of the game-changing realizations for me was when I learned that bad money habits were preventing me from living the life I wanted to have. The first habit is paying yourself last. If you ever read the book or heard about Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talks about how we need to be paying ourselves first. So what does it mean? Typically, we as human beings, what we do is whenever we get paid, we take the paycheck and we just go and we spend the money. But paying yourself first means is that before you receive your paycheck, you already set up an automating savings or investment where the certain amount of money, percent of your salary or your payment goes towards savings or investment. So whenever I'm working with my clients, I typically suggest for them to commit to like 20, 30, or maybe even 40% of their paycheck towards the investment or savings. Now you're probably thinking, oh my God, this is a large amount. Like, how can I commit to such a large amount to invest or to save if I have bills to pay? And yes, and I totally understand that, but here is the way our brain works, is when we receive certain amount of money, then we just go and spend it, and typically we even spend more than what we actually receive. So now if you already have an automating settings where you save and then you just receive that portion after the savings, now you're readjusting your day-to-day spending, you're readjusting your spending habits on spending only on that amount that you're receiving. So this is how you establish the habit of actually paying yourself first, because setting up that savings or investments account, you're already putting the money, you're committing to put this money into the savings, and then you're only spending the amount that you what's left of it. The second habit is spending more than you're earning. So this is kind of a little bit overlaps with the first one, as I was just explaining to you. But here again, the way our mind works is, once we receive the paycheck, whatever the amount is, then we just typically go and spend, and we typically even spending more than we actually earning. And then also, once we start making the money, we have all these plans. We want to enjoy our life because we're working so hard, and it takes time for us to earn what we're earning, and we want this instant gratification. We want to start enjoying our life. So then what we start doing is that we start typically spending more than actually what we're earning. And then a lot of the times what we do, we start charging the credit cards, we start borrowing the money. So this is a very bad habit, because using that habit, it actually takes you further away from your goal and from your savings and achieving that financial freedom. The third habit is getting bad debts. There is a difference between good debt and bad debt, and I am all pro good debts. Good debt, it means then you're purchasing a property and you're taking a mortgage on that. This is a great debt, because what you're doing is that you're using leverage, you use other people's money, using bank's money to buy the asset. So this is considered as a good debt. Think of it this way. If you borrow the money, if you mortgage from the bank and you're paying 3% interest rate, and then the money that you borrowed, you invested and you earned 15% interest rate. So now you're already making 12% in interest, and this is how you earned passive income. So this is called a good debt, is when you're actually using other people's money, when you're using bank's money to make more money, to invest money. The bad debt is when you actually taking the credit cards and then you're going on a shopping spree, you're buying all these materialistic things, shoes, bags, cars, watches, whatever it is that it is for you, or even paying for the vacation. And then what happens is that since you're spending already more than you're earning, then it turns out into the debt, you end up paying high interest rates. And then at the end of the day, you end up paying for that vacation more than what you originally charged, or you end up paying for this jewelry that you purchase or watches more than what you originally spent it on. And at the end of the day, the only people that benefit from that is the financial institution. So it's very important to distinguish between bad debts and good debts. The next, the fourth habit is listening to the friends or relatives and not having the right people to listen, not having the right mentors. So here's the thing. If you in your community, you have your friends, you have your relatives, and you start listening to their advices, but then if they're living the same life that you're living, then that advice is not gonna take you any further. So, and that kind of happened to me as well in my life. I've been listening to my friends, I've been listening to relatives, I've been following this conventional wisdom until I found the right mentors for myself, mentors who actually achieved what I wanted to achieve, those that were living the life that I aspired to live. And when I saw them, when I started communicating with them, when I started following their footsteps, actually interesting thing happened, because when I came back to my community, I came back home and I started sharing with my friends and relatives like all these amazing things that I wanted to create in my life for myself. Everyone was telling me, oh, that's not gonna work out. This is not possible. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. When you're following your advices from your friends and relatives, those that living the life and not living that dream life that you wanna have, so it's not gonna get you anywhere. It's not gonna get you to that other side where you're gonna have a life free of debt, life free of problems, and live your desired life. The next habit is saving more money versus actually making more money. Think of it this way. If your mindset is focused on saving more money, the only thing that you will achieve is just saving what you're trying to save. Let's, for example, just take this into perspective. So let's say if you're making 100,000 a year, and if you're trying to save out of this 100,000, if you're trying to manage this 100,000, the maximum you actually will be kept at making is 100,000, because you're only trying to focus to save within this 100,000. So if your saying says is where focus goes, energy flows, so that's kind of how it works. So if you're trying to save $1,000, then that's all you're actually going to be saving. So now let's kind of switch that perspective and look at it that way. What if you're going to be thinking a little bit different? How can I actually make more? How can I make 20,000? How can I make 30,000? So by developing this new habit, what's going to happen is that you're going to expand your mind, you're going to expand your thinking, and now you're going to be looking for the ways, instead of saving, you're actually going to be looking for the ways of how to make more money. And another thing I wanted to share with you is that that's kind of how I do for myself, is every year when it just starts, so I already commit to how much I want to save. So I put aside, just like I mentioned in the beginning of the habits, I put aside 40% of what I'm making to save, to invest. So now what happens is that the other amount that I leave on day-to-day expenses is now it actually makes me expand my mind and think, okay, now that I have this amount, okay, how can I find ways to make more and more money to compensate whatever I saved? You see, now that you switch that thinking, this is how you start growing, and this is how you start saving more, investing more, and getting yourself closer to that financial freedom. Another habit is paying too much in taxes. This is one of the things that I have discovered in my practice since I work with a lot with the clients. I'm helping with the strategic tax planning and implementation. So what I found actually and discovered is that a lot of taxpayers they so focused on the tax preparation fee that they're paying, and this kind of ties along with the prior habit that I was talking about, saving more versus making more. So, and this is kind of what I discovered is like they so focused on saving money on like how much they're paying for the tax preparation versus actually looking for different ways, legal ways, where they can start saving more money by implementing tax plans and by hiring strategic tax planners to help them to execute these tax plans. So this is very important because if you don't have a strategic tax planner, if you're not implementing strategic tax plans, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You're giving a lot of hard-earned money to Uncle Sam. So very important to establish a great habit and having the right team in place for you so they will be able to advise, they will be able to guide you so you can actually save money on taxes. The last habit is waiting too long to invest. A lot of the times, and I'm guilty of that as well, is that we underestimate the time value of money and how much we can actually earn if we start investing earlier. Let me just give you an example. So typically the way when you invest, you're returning your money in a certain period of time depending on at which rate you're investing. So let's say in instance, if you have 100,000 and you're investing them with 10% interest rate, with 10% return on your investment. So what's going to happen is by earning 10%, this 100,000 will double in 7 years. So meaning that in 7 years, you're going to have 200,000. Now look at it this way. If you take the same 100,000 and then you invest them with 14% interest rate, then this 100,000 will double in 5 years. Now, if you take the same 100,000 and then you invest them with 20% interest rate, this 100,000 will double in 3.5 years, meaning that in 3.5 years, you're going to have 200,000 instead of 100,000. A habit that I wanted to share with you is to start investing as soon as possible. Even if you don't have a lot of money, it all accumulates. There's another saying that I like to use is that the value of the compound interest, the time value of the money and the compound interest that accumulates on the money that you invest. So the earlier you're going to start investing, the sooner you're going to start making money, and then the sooner it's going to get you to that dream that you desire to have. So that's it. Now you have it all, and now I would like to turn it over to you. Please share your victories. What is it that you liked? What is your favorite tip that you found very helpful? I would like to know, and drop a comment below. And let's build a community of empowering habits and supporting each other. If you are ready for more financial empowerment content, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Together we are breaking free and paving the way to a financial empowered future.